I am Cyril Giddings. I was born at the Georgetown Hospital over 40 years ago. My parents were Cyril and Samuel Giddings. They are both now deceased. I attended school at the Congregational Primary, now the Georgetown Primary School. Well, I was born into a poor family, the last of 5 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. My mother was a maid at the house of a head teacher, Mr. Spencer, and I believe it was through that that I got maybe some nursery education, which was a privileged situation in those days. With regard to my parents, my mother died when I was 5. As the youngest one in the family, she was the one who showed the love and support. My father was never around. We had very little interaction and therefore very little connection. He died much later when I was in my late teens. So she, my mother, provided the support for me and the nurturing. And I think I share that with a lot of Guyanese males around the country. With regard to my family, I'm married. I've been married for over 20 years. We have 2 children. My wife is a nurse by training. I have an older daughter who is 16 and a younger son who is 13. I thank God for them and His gift to us, because for us we recognize that getting children is a gift from God. Being poor always has possibilities for challenges, and that was a big challenge I faced growing up. I think being poor has basically the same thing wherever you live, and there was this desire that you'd want to do better. There was a struggle to feel good about yourself as you compared yourself with others, and maybe a determination that you'd get out of it and you'd do better. And so when you couldn't wear as nice clothing or have as much as others, it did make you have a decreased sense of self-worth. And I struggled with that till after several years, I came to a real understanding that your worth was not dependent on what you could wear or how you look. Your worth depended on something deep within you. And even though you were poor, you had to keep that at the forefront if you're going to make it in life. And so that after many years, I realized that it didn't matter what you have as a person or what the other person had, that you were as big in God's sight with regard to worth as anybody else. Something that helped the challenge was my foster mother, where she always told you that you needed to go to school and you needed to go to school on time. With all she didn't have, she always encouraged you and did her best, which I'm appreciative of, giving you a chance to go to school, to study hard, and to do your best. With regard to the support that I received from my father, that was minimal. Since we didn't have a relationship, it was hard to relate to him. The circumstances with regard to my family is that he and my mother were separated. I was too small to understand the circumstances, but I'm told that he tended to be abusive. And so that's the part he played. And years later in medical school, I found 2 colleagues, in fact 3, and we shared that we had grown up in a situation where our fathers were not there. And so as I reflect on that, I see that, this is how God was gracious, that in spite of, and we all have children, and in spite of not having a father figure, and I remember sharing with a former pastor of the challenge of how can I be a good father if I didn't have a father. The assurance that, God is gracious and He could give you an example and the help to be a father of worth in spite of how your father might have been. Because my family wasn't a noted family, because my mother was a maid, there must have been persons who thought I wouldn't amount to anything. But in spite of that, I did. I did because I believe God put people in my life who believed in me and made inputs. And so in spite of those who might have thought otherwise because of my family background, because of where I was born, there was others who made that vital difference of believing in me. And as God moved them around me, I was able to move to something higher and better than could have been thought otherwise. Persons in New Amsterdam tended to be very religious, so I had a lot of early Sunday school sessions where you had to go. And like most boys, maybe I wasn't too keen on going. For me, the relationship with God wasn't something that came like a bolt of lightning, but was a gradual something. And I do remember sometime, I don't know, I was maybe 9, 10, somewhere around there, that I left church and there was this great joy I can feel kind of bubbling up, burning inside of me that wanted to come out. I remember hurrying home quickly, and I would think my face might have glowed. I think my cousin who lived with us, she kind of looked at me funny. And I think I tried to tell them that, something had happened in my life and I was different. I then was challenged to live that out. Sometimes I didn't do it well, and I would be chastised. How could you call yourself and you're like that? But from then on, there was this desire to do what pleased God. And so by the time I was in high school, I was established in my belief in God and the fact that I needed to follow Him and do what He said, and the fact that He could talk to me. And so through high school, there was the witness that, Cyril is a Christian. And so there are things that were expected of me. And I trusted God to help me to do what I should as a Christian, a born-again believer rather. To try and interpret the time when I felt this joy and had this glow on my face, I would think it was a point when I made firm connection with God, where He came into my life, my understanding that He could take away, wash away all the bad that I ever done. I mean, even as a boy, you could do a lot of bad things, and I did my share. By His Spirit being a relationship with you, where He could guide you and empower you to do what was right against the tide of evil or wrong that might be seeking to submerge you. The defining moment, as I said, about having this joy and having this maybe glow in my face, was a time where I believe all that I had been taught came together, and I made the connection with God in understanding that through Jesus Christ, He died to forgive my sins, and if I'd ask Him, He'd forgive my sins. And that would allow me to have a relationship with Him where He could empower me to do what is right. And from that would be a continual relationship where He would, every day, as I depended on Him, help me to do what was right and help me to enjoy the blessings, the benefits of doing what was right. Trying to make a comparison of the time before I became a believer in Jesus to just after. One of the striking things, as my foster mother would say, is that I really had a bad temper. And it got out of control more often than not. I acted in ways that definitely weren't good. Maybe made them think definitely bad things would happen with that temper I got. Now I don't have that kind of temper. Do get angry, but I have the kind of control that, and with God's help, being angry in appropriate times where I could express my anger appropriately. I think as an aftermath of the experience of following Jesus, I have become a more loving person. I have become a person of hope, and I've been able to more clearly understand that in God indeed you can do anything. And that has made me able to triumph over a lot of circumstances and to live in hope and not to give up. To understand who the God in the Bible is, we talk about someone who loves us. He loves all of us because He's made all of us. And there was a problem of sin, of wrongdoing, of going against His commands. And there was a penalty for it, which we couldn't pay. And since we couldn't pay it, then we'd all have to suffer. Well, somebody would pay it. And so He, strange and as it might seem, some people might even want to say ridiculous, he decided that he would die and pay that penalty. Once he paid that penalty for our sins, the wrongs that we did against him, against his laws, which are for good, then he would view us as if we've never sinned. And if we accept that fact, that is how we can be viewed as if we've never sinned. That is how we can then be in a relationship with him. That is how we can enjoy his plans for us in this life. And that is how we can enjoy the life to come. As a final message, I'd want us to believe that there's hope in God. And through the hope of God in us, we can have hope in God. I believe all the blessings he has poured in my life, like he's poured in other people's lives, is to ensure in this part of the world that we're planted, that we could so impact it that all the people of this land could enjoy the benefits, the blessings of being born in Guyana. And that all of us have to play our part to ensure that this great land of ours really rises to greatness.
I am certain that there are many of you out there, you are wondering, well, what can I do to have this experience? You might be thinking that you don't know what next. I want to let you know that we have the mechanism set to help you every step of the way. We want to encourage you to call the number on the screen. When you call that number, there are going to be a number of people at the other end to take your call. Somebody will be available to take your call. They're going to talk to you about your situation, and we want you to feel free to share with them your situation. And I would like to assure you at this time that that conversation will be totally and completely confidential, because the people are all trained and they will handle your call with confidentiality. So, somebody will be there to talk to you. They will hear your situation. They will counsel with you. They will pray with you. And they will even seek to direct you based on how you would like to proceed, how you can come into relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. If you are serious about making a commitment, then someone within a very short period of time after your call will able to come and visit you, even once it is convenient for you, visit you at your home. There is a book that we would like to give to you that is called Power to Change. That person will come to your home wherever you are in this country, whether it's Bartica, Essequibo, Crabwood Creek, Blackbush Polar, wherever you might be. Somebody is going to be at your door. They will have this beautiful book entitled Power to Change. They will have it ready to make it available to you. That book could be a guide. And then you can, if you will, you want to move on, will be securely planted in a local church in which and where your faith can develop. So, if you need this kind of a help, or maybe you just need prayer, maybe you're not serious about making all that commitment, you just need prayer, whatever it is, give us a call and somebody will be there to take your call. God bless you.